Some British cars failed quietly. Others failed spectacularly. They arrived with huge expectations, massive advertising campaigns, and thousands of eager buyers waiting outside dealerships. But within just a few years, many had become symbols of disappointment. Some were plagued by terrible reliability. Others simply couldn't compete with better rivals from Europe and Japan. A few even pushed their manufacturers closer to financial disaster. Today, most have almost completely disappeared from Britain's roads. But their stories are too fascinating to forget. Here are 10 British cars that failed so badly they disappeared forever. Number 10. Austin Allegro. When the Austin Allegro arrived in 1973, British Leyland believed it had finally built the perfect replacement for the Austin 1100. The company invested millions. Advertising promised modern styling, comfort, and dependable family motoring. Dealers expected huge success. And at first, buyers responded positively. Thousands of British families proudly drove home in brand new Allegros. But the excitement didn't last. Owners quickly discovered build quality problems. Panels didn't always line up properly. Electrical faults became common. And perhaps most famously, some early versions even came with the unusual square steering wheel, which many drivers simply hated. Although it was later replaced with a normal round wheel, the damage had already been done. The Allegro soon became the target of jokes across Britain. As Ford Escorts and Vauxhall Chevettes became more reliable, families quietly switched brands. By the 1990s, most Allegros had disappeared into scrapyards. Today, very few survive. Yet its failure remains one of the biggest examples of British Leyland's troubled years. And if you think the Allegro damaged a company's reputation, the next car came even closer to becoming a complete disaster. Number 9. Morris Marina. When the Morris Marina arrived in 1971, British Leyland had one mission: beat the Ford Cortina. The company believed the Marina would become Britain's favorite family car. And at first, it looked like they were right. Sales exploded. Families bought them in huge numbers. Company fleets ordered thousands. Driving schools filled their forecourts with Marinas. For a few years, they were absolutely everywhere. But underneath the success, problems were beginning to appear. The Marina was already old-fashioned when it launched. While rivals were moving towards modern engineering, the Marina still relied on outdated suspension and handling. Owners soon began complaining. It wasn't dangerous, but compared with the Cortina or Escort, it simply didn't feel enjoyable to drive. Then came another familiar British problem: rust. Many Marinas started rusting long before owners expected. As newer front-wheel drive family cars arrived, the Marina suddenly felt like yesterday's car. Sales collapsed. Thousands were scrapped. Today, finding a Morris Marina on British roads is incredibly difficult. Yet more than 1 million were built. One of Britain's biggest selling cars simply disappeared. And if you think the Marina was disappointing, the next British sports car promised excitement, but became one of Triumph's biggest failures. Number 8. Triumph TR7. When Triumph revealed the TR7 in 1975, it shocked everyone. Its sharp wedge-shaped styling looked futuristic. The advertising proudly declared, "The shape of things to come." British Leyland believed this would become the sports car of the future. Expectations couldn't have been higher. Early buyers loved the dramatic appearance, the comfortable interior, and the promise of modern British performance. But almost immediately, things started going wrong. Build quality was inconsistent. Electrical faults frustrated owners. Production delays caused even more problems. Then factory strikes made matters worse. By the time quality finally improved, The damage had already been done. Customers had lost confidence. Many simply bought Japanese sports cars instead. The TR7 never became the success Triumph desperately needed. When Triumph itself disappeared, the TR7 quietly vanished with it. Today, it has become an interesting classic. But many enthusiasts still wonder, what might have happened if British Leyland had simply built it properly from the beginning? And the next car wasn't just a disappointment. It became one of the biggest mistakes Milgram Rover ever made. Number 7. Austin Princess. When the Austin Princess arrived in 1975, British Leyland believed it had created the future of family motoring. Its sharp wedge-shaped styling looked years ahead of its rivals. The spacious cabin impressed families. The smooth hydrogas suspension delivered an incredibly comfortable ride. Taxi companies quickly noticed. Business users appreciated the generous interior. For a short time, the Princess looked like it might become one of Britain's biggest success stories. But serious problems soon appeared. Build quality was inconsistent. Owners complained about electrical faults. Rust became a familiar enemy. British Leyland's poor reputation made matters even worse. Many buyers simply lost confidence in the brand. Instead of competing with the Ford Cortina, the Princess slowly disappeared from Britain's roads. By the late 1980s, most had already been scrapped. Today, seeing an Austin Princess is a rare sight. Many enthusiasts believe it deserved a much better fate. Its styling was ahead of its time, but poor quality stopped it from becoming the success British Leyland had hoped for. And if you think the Princess failed because of poor quality, the next British car failed because it was simply too expensive for the people it was built for. Number 6. Rover CityRover. By the early 2000s, Milgram Rover was fighting for survival. Money was running out. Sales were falling. And the company desperately needed an affordable small car. Developing a brand new model would have cost millions. Money Milgram Rover simply didn't have. So instead, they imported a small hatchback from India, made a few cosmetic changes, added Rover badges, and introduced it as the Rover CityRover. Management believed buyers would trust the famous Rover name. Instead, customers felt disappointed. The biggest problem wasn't just how it looked. It was the price. Many people realized they could buy a Ford Fiesta or Vauxhall Corsa for similar money, with far better quality. Then the reviews arrived. Journalists criticized almost everything. The cheap interior, the poor driving experience, the noisy engine. One famous reviewer even called it one of the worst new cars Britain had seen in years. Sales collapsed. Dealers couldn't shift them. Heavy discounts failed to save the project. Instead of rescuing Milgram Rover, the CityRover became one of the company's biggest commercial failures. When Milgram Rover collapsed in 2005, the CityRover disappeared almost overnight. Today, very few remain on British roads. And if you think the CityRover was embarrassing, the next vehicle wasn't even a proper car. Yet it became one of Britain's most famous failures. Number 5. Sinclair C5. In 1985, British inventor Sir Clive Sinclair believed he was about to change personal transport forever. His invention looked like something from the future. The Sinclair C5. A tiny electric vehicle designed for everyday journeys. Sinclair predicted millions would buy one. It was cheap to run, didn't need petrol, and promised a cleaner future. The launch attracted enormous media attention. People were fascinated. But once customers actually drove it, reality hit hard. The driver sat incredibly low to the ground. Lorries and buses towered above it. Many owners felt unsafe in normal traffic. Its electric motor struggled on hills. Bad weather made driving miserable. And the limited battery range disappointed almost everyone. Sales stopped almost as quickly as they had started. Thousands remained unsold. The C5 became one of Britain's most famous commercial disasters. Today, it has become a collector's item. But in 1985, it was remembered as a revolutionary idea that simply arrived before Britain was ready for it. And only 4 cars remain, including one that looked like a supercar. But almost nobody bought one. Number 4, XPower SV. When people first saw the XPower SV, it looked incredible. Long bonnet, huge V8 engine, aggressive styling. It looked like Britain had finally built a supercar capable of challenging Ferrari and Porsche. Rover hoped the XPower SV would transform the company's image. The performance certainly impressed. With over 300 horsepower, it could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 5 seconds. But there was one enormous problem. The price. It cost far more than most people expected from a milligram. For similar money, buyers could choose well-established German or Italian sports cars with stronger reputations. Only a tiny number of customers placed orders. Production remained painfully slow. When Rover collapsed in 2005, the project ended almost immediately. Fewer than 100 cars were ever built. Today, the XPower SV has become one of Britain's rarest modern performance cars. Collectors admire it, but it arrived far too late to save Rover. And if you think that was unusual, the next vehicle became famous for reasons nobody expected. Number 3, Reliant Robin. Few British vehicles have become more famous, or more misunderstood, than the Reliant Robin. Its 3-wheel design made it instantly recognizable. For thousands of owners, the Robin offered something genuinely useful. Affordable motoring, excellent fuel economy, low running costs. Small business owners loved them. Delivery drivers depended on them. Many elderly motorists appreciated how inexpensive they were to own. Then television changed everything. Comedy shows constantly joked about the Robin rolling over. Although most owners never experienced serious problems, its reputation never recovered. People laughed before they even drove one. Sales gradually disappeared. Production finally ended. Today, the Reliant Robin has become a cult classic. Yet most people remember the jokes, rather than the thousands of owners who genuinely enjoyed driving one. Number 2, Hillman Imp. The Hillman Imp was supposed to become Roots Group's answer to the Mini. It arrived in 1963 carrying enormous expectations. The engineering looked impressive. Its lightweight aluminium engine, rear engine layout, and compact size seemed incredibly modern. Early excitement was huge, but reality proved very different. The first cars suffered cooling problems. Reliability issues frustrated owners. Word spread quickly. Although many faults were later fixed, the damage had already been done. The Mini continued dominating the small car market. The Imp never recovered. Production finally ended after more than a decade. Today, enthusiasts appreciate just how advanced the Hillman Imp really was. Many believe it deserved far greater success than it ever achieved. And now, only one British failure remains. Perhaps the most famous of them all. Number 1, DeLorean DMC-12, Northern Ireland. Few cars have a story quite like the DeLorean. Built in Northern Ireland, it looked like nothing else on the road. Its stainless steel body, gull-wing doors, and futuristic styling attracted worldwide attention. People believed they were looking at the future. Demand was enormous before production even began. But once customers started driving them, problems appeared. Build quality disappointed many buyers. Performance failed to match the dramatic appearance. Meanwhile, the company faced serious financial trouble. Then everything collapsed. Production stopped after only around 9,000 cars had been built. It looked like the DeLorean would disappear forever. Then, Hollywood changed everything. The Back to the Future films turned the DMC-12 into one of the most famous cars in history. Ironically, the car that failed as a business became one of the world's greatest automotive legends. Today, it remains one of Britain's most unforgettable motoring stories. Not every British car became a success. Some arrived with huge dreams, only to disappear almost as quickly as they arrived. But every one of these vehicles left its mark on British motoring history. Which of these failures do you think deserved a second chance? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to UKTorque for more classic British motoring stories every week.